what are we doing, you might ask, while you stare out the window aimlessly? We're going to get the boat slipped and we're going to anti-foul it, and we got a surveyor coming around at 1 o'clock, so we're hoping to have all the sanding done and have the boat on the hard stands by then. So yeah, we've got to get into it.
So we just checked in and we're gonna go get the boat, although we did just realise that only one of us can bring the boat around because the other person has to grab the car and take the car back here with all the stuff. So.
It's me. I'm gonna have to bring the boat around.
All by himself. Wait, do you have the key to get out? What? Do you have the key to get out? Do you have the key to get out?
Gee. Release bit on the inside. If not, I'll have to come back, but I can't. Get out without the key.
So what happened when you realised that I needed the key?
No, so I'm taking off after our perfect first launch, and she goes, I need the key to get out. And I'm like, damn it. So and I'm already going down, so I was like, I'll call her and say like, hey, can you see if there's an emergency exit? There's not. So I got to the end of the dock and I was like lined up with the pillar, and I was like, all right, I might just try and slip at the end of the end of the dock onto the docks there. And then I was like, I can't tie myself off, and all the nettings are still up, so I can't get out off of the safety lines. And I was like, all right. So I had to turn back around and come in, and then came in way too hot because I was freaking out about the key. And needless to say, we got there. So we go straights and barnacles.
So we just had the boat survey done, and
Yep. There's heaps of stuff wrong with it.
not as much as we thought though. So when he first looked at it, he was a bit worried looking, and then that made me super stressed. But in the end, it's not too bad. There's like a few little spots we need to fix of osmosis, but like they're teeny tiny. Apparently it's like barely anything to worry about. And,
yeah, so we're going to get some epoxy and some parts just to get off the sacrificial node on the prop. Just basically do our run around, get ready for hours and hours of sanding. The good news is we were actually planning on wet wet sanding the boat, and we've made the good decision to not do that and use their full setup, which is a vacuum setup, because we would be sanding for hours and hours.
Yeah, but if you read online about do you wet sand or do you dry sand, everyone online says like idiots, these idiots that are dry sanding at the boatyard, like do not dry sand anti-foul. And then you get to the boatyard and everyone's dry sanding their anti-foul. So when the surveyor first started going through the boat, he kind of asked questions. He was like, have you taken it for a test sail? Have you seen it out the water yet? Oh, you didn't see it out the water before you brought it? And then he was like, you're going to need to extend how long it's out the water for. Yeah. And he was really, really stressing us out. I thought we may have been.
He's probably seen a lot of like nightmare stories, and I think that was our worry, is he sort of looked at it, went and found a little bit of osmosis straight away. So he's like, yeah, you guys probably going to want to extend your time on the cradle. He was calm about it, but I could just immediately felt my butt clench, like, oh no. But after getting about halfway through Scuffy, he was pretty happy. He was like, you know what, yeah. He's like, I wouldn't go to Victoria or anything else without changing a sails, like doing massive stuff, which we don't plan on doing. But all this stuff is pretty, yeah, fixable, easy maintenance. Old discs here. Hi. I think you got some in my eye. So much longer than you think it's going to take, but we're getting good tips from the boatyard people. So we realise we don't have time to do this fully right now. So we're going to do the patch up on the big osmosis. We're going to strip it back so it's smooth, and at the end of the year redo it. The bonus is at the end of the year, when we actually strip this thing back, put down one coat of prime, we're always going to know when to stop. Whereas right now, if you look at this, there's about 7 layers of anti-foul before you hit the red, and we're trying to get it back to red, and it's so patchy just from anti-foul flaking and people just laying layers over the top that it's just, it feels impossible. So we're not going to get it back to red this weekend. We're just going to do our best to do our best. It's so hard, and the sanding just keeps flying off because it's an old machine.
Yeah, sometimes you're only doing it for like 10 seconds and it flies off.
I'm fixing it. But I got to keep going. Unless we want to pay for another day on the sander.
Which we're probably going to have to do anyway. Even like this coat here seems like a completely different coat to under here. And there's like navy blue under here. But down here there's only red. It's just a whole mixed bag.
There's a fair amount of grey primer as well if you look down on the keel. There's like grey primer, and this exists in a few spots as well, like even here. So it's also had grey on it. at some point. So it's had just about every colour. It's like the red's been eaten through there. So, because like I've applied multiple passes here, but only a few here. So, who knows, man? It's definitely like not as neat. We'll look at it afterwards, but we'll know what's under there. Someone can please tell me what's going wrong here, because I asked Jeff why the pad keeps coming off. He says it's just old, and I went, great, cool. Sims turning it down did not work. Well, here we go. Day 2. The horrors persist, but so do we.
The horrors?
Yeah. Today we're hoping Luna's going to do more sanding. I'm going to get stuck into the small, or the larger patches of osmosis blisters. And then, yeah, we'll be back. Love you, Deku. Cutie.
So we didn't end up getting primer. We went to the boat store and spoke to a guy, and he said don't worry about it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of mixed opinions in the community. Obviously, and he was pretty forthcoming with the arrangement. He's like, look, basically most people when they've got the boat out the water are on a time frame. If you're on a time frame, don't worry about doing the primer because you've got enough coat there, and because you're using epoxy, the anti-foul will stick to the epoxy. He's like, as long as you do your fillers right, you'll be fine. Plus, he's like, the real pain is we have to use an epoxy based primer, which requires mixing. He's like, and if you're only doing small patches, it's super annoying and hard to do and get it right.
Yeah, and he was like, you know, some people are, yeah, on a rush and do a rush job, and we're like, yep, that's what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. So he's like, just patch your holes and go. It's like I'm filling a wall with chip rock. Having a pie, and it's a good one. It's from Doublewick Bakery Cafe, and I must say their potato pie, muy delicioso.
That's a goodie. And I had coffee, and I got some other baked goods for later if we get hungry later. It's almost 1 o'clock.
Oh man.
It's almost 1 o'clock, and we still have a lot to do. Like a lot.
Heaps. Grinding's done though. That's good. I've already put so many holes in the boat. I feel fine about it. Hi. call me Mr. Epoxy. Someone in the comments is probably going to be like, wear some gloves, dude. Okay. Next time. Even the gloves I got, these massive ones, and my fingers kept getting stuck. And I got stuck to the boat twice. So I went, this is just going to be easier. We got our 2 taps of PF epoxy. We're going to mix part A, part B together. So you're going to get out your trusty 100mm scraper here and your old toothpaste. We're just going to make a big mess of it right now. Going to get that on there. Part B in there now. Nice and easy. I want to mix those two together. Now remember, there's no such thing as a mistake. Just a happy little accident. Take out our wooden spoon. Get that nice and mixed in. Make sure it's blended. Don't want to take a bit of that. We're going to lather it right into the crevice. Putting good pressure on it. Really seal it up. We'll just come over with a nice hot scrape. Even that one out right there. Just like that. Not just like that. I'm gonna go fix my happy little accident. Good night now. We're so like struggle number one is like getting the information. You have 4 people saying like don't even worry about it, and then 4 people saying nah, don't do it that way, you've got to do it this way,
and then other people say no, do it this way instead.
Yeah. So basically, Jeff, who's helping us out on the boatyard's like, guys, you got to put primer over the epoxy.
Yeah, like we need to.
But like, speaking with the surveyor, he's like, nah, don't worry about it. Like, yeah, you're just gonna have to do it again in future, like when you genuinely take the boat back and do it. And then we spoke with the guy at the marine store, and he's like, oh, how much you doing? And we told him it's kind of like spots here and there, and he's like, yeah, well, it's a bit of a pain to mix 2-part epoxy, but he's like, so I wouldn't bother if you're going to take it out in 12-18 months. So then we talked to Jeff again this afternoon. He comes in after we were spotting up, and firstly, fair enough, judging my scraping abilities, that's fair. It's fair call, Jeff. And then he was like, what are you doing paint wise? Are you putting anything over it? And we were like, we're just going to anti-foul it because we've got this many opinions. And he goes, nah man, you've got to put a primer on it. He's like, even all your white spots, just put a primer on it. And then he said he'll bring us some tomorrow. Now the problem is, like the store we normally go to is shut, but there's another store open.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
It opens at 9, but the issue is like we were just going to make time if we either A, anti-fouled the first coat before we leave, or B, get up at the crack of dawn and put the first coat of anti-foul on.
Yeah.
But now with this primer situation,
we're gonna have to wait to get primer.
That opens at 9, get back all the way back here, prime it, wait for that to dry, like.
Yeah.
and we don't know if we can extend our thing or not. They're very booked up here, like all the slots are taken.
So we're either going to launch with a possibly not set anti-foul, or pay a ridiculous amount of money to keep it here on the stands until we can get it done.
Yeah.
Because the stands, keep in mind, are like a good $100 and something to keep it here a day.
Well, I don't know if they will
on the cradle
even put it on stands.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
I think as well, this is the only workshop area though. And
yeah.
The workshop area is full. It's fully booked out, and if they have someone else coming out on Monday and no one else going in, there's no space for us.
Yeah.
So extremely stressed right now. Also just ate some food, did some reading on the internet about osmosis fixing. And the very first blog I read about it literally said, do not do what you're doing. Like, do not do what we're doing.
Don't put the epoxy
like,
filler in there.
Whatever you do, don't do that. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, this whole boat thing, the internet is just so divided with opinions. Why isn't there just like a right way and a wrong way? Like, do it this way, not like 20 opinions on the right way.
Yeah.
It's so stressful.
And granted, we're probably not going to have issues with what we're doing, but like we have issues with what we're doing because we don't know what we're doing. And we just want a straight answer. Like, like we want the if it, like there's the if it works answer and there's the proper answer.
Like, we want the proper answer though. We want to do it the proper way within the time frame we have.
But I just don't think there is a proper way in the time frame we have.
But even so, I'd like to know the proper way, and it's even hard just to know that because like everyone has a completely different opinion.
So we're going to go back to sanding, and we're running out of daylight again, and we're still not anti-fouling, and we're still just behind, and it's just...
Well, we can't anti-foul because the primer situation.
Yeah. It's hard not to be discouraged from ever buying a boat again.
It's not ever buying a boat again, but I can see why you don't buy a boat until you haul it out, because...
Yeah.
Like...
I can also see why you have boat money and get someone else to do the labour. I can definitely see that. Like, if you've got the money, it's hard work, and it's especially time consuming. For us, I think we've just given ourselves too much of a tight deadline. Well, again, because we're going off of things on the internet.
Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, easy to anti-foul a boat in 3 days. Like, boats that are twice the size of our boat, easy 3 days.
Which you could if you didn't have 8 layers of anti-foul on there. Like, if you just had it down to the red coat, which is what we were attempting to do, and realised we don't have time, then it'd be easy. Like, you'd go over, like, how quick does that first 2 layers lift? Like the hard light blue, gone so quickly, and you'd be done, no worries.
Yeah.
It's just this
so
is a much
layers.
bigger job than we suspected.
Yeah, and then we've been told by people as well to make sure we take the whole boat back to the red layer. There is no way. That sander ain't doing that. Like, we would have to spend a solid week just sanding the boat to get it all down to the red layer, I think. Which
we're gonna have to do eventually.
Yeah, but
like next time we pull her out, we'll do it properly. But just right now, we just
well, we thought we were going to do it properly. We didn't realise the osmosis situation. We didn't realise the a million layers of anti-foul that were on here. I don't know how long it's been since it's been sanded.
I don't think it's been sanded. Yeah. Thanks for the 6-minute break.
Yeah, we'll get back to sanding. And there's only one sander, that's also an issue.
Oh, if we had 2 sanders. God, if we had 2 sanders.
Yeah. And if we could have the sander at full power without the disc flying off, that would be good.
That'd be great as well. God, if we had a good sander. It's not that it's a bad sander. It's just not at full max performance.
Look, I like to look at, I keep thinking about this as like, it could be a lot worse. Like, we could have pulled it out and the osmosis could have been terrible. Like, it could have been horrible. It's not too bad, it's just a lot of little spots, but there could have been other major things wrong with it. But at the same time, it's also like, this sucks.
It does.
I'm trying to be positive, but
it could have been way worse. We are lucky.
But it also sucks.
But it also sucks.
was woken up kind of late again, and yeah, not late, but like not the crack of dawn. It doesn't matter anyway because the shop doesn't open till 9, but we're very lucky there is a shop because we didn't know about the shop until yesterday. We thought they were all closed, so we go get some primer and head back down to the boatyard. So the primer situation has evolved once again.
I'm not talking to any more store people. I'm not talking to any more weird beards on the internet. I'm done. I've spoken to Jeff, I've spoken to Guy, I've spoken to Alan. These are professionals, they do this every day.
Yeah, but they also had different opinions.
They did have differing opinions, but Jeff he restores boats. That's his job, is GRP restoration. That's what he does. So we're picking up a 2-part epoxy primer to go over all of the spots where we've repaired the osmosis. On top of that, we're going to put it on other spots that have kind of gotten back to nearly the gel coat. And then on top of that, we're going to put a 1-part epoxy, a 1-part primer, and we're going to put that around the boat. And then we're going to apply our first coat of anti-foul all today, and no more talking to store people.
And we can extend till Tuesday morning if we must.
Yes.
But we're going to see how we go.
We have extended the boat till Tuesday morning. We have. Because we want it to sit and dry.
So there's other big boats here that are also getting anti-fouled over this weekend. And it's a 42 or 45 foot, I can't remember, it's just over there. But they fully sanded it yesterday in one day. And they primed it before they left, and in the time span that we've just gone out and got primer, they've basically painted all of it as well. So we are very slow apparently, but we got some of this and some of this. So hopefully it all goes well.
I just did a clean down of the boat. We just found a couple of tiny other bits of osmosis that I didn't see before, I think, because we didn't quite sand it back enough. So we're just giving them a wipe out, and then I'm going to come through and fill some of the bigger ones. Yeah, because that didn't noticeably look like it was going to pop, but then I managed to put pressure on it. And you can see it's just eating away, so I'll come into that one. Yeah, 10 million on. Free prop speed. You know they're going to be like, come to the barbecue, but we need to get this anti-foul on right now.
What's the time?
We don't have time for games.
It's 5 o'clock.
We really don't have time for games.
And we still don't have anti-foul on.
Primer's on. Tape's flying off.
It is.
Luna did the tape.
It's falling off on your side too.
Hey, we got free prop speed though. They were so nice. So one of the gentlemen who owns the big big boat boy, big boaty boy, did his prop, and then he was like, I got spare, and then he went to the boat next door and said, hey, do you want some prop speed? And they were like, sure, and then they did theirs, and then they were like, oh, there's some left over. They came over to us, they're like, hey, you want some prop speed? And I was like, do I ever? It's just a coating, goes on you.
Yeah, that's still super nice. It's so nice.
I know, but everyone's like, what's he talking about? Free speed? Let's go.
We're also trying to decide if we come back early tomorrow morning before work to do the second coat of Antifouling, or if we're going to come after work to do the second coat and then launch Tuesday morning. Yeah.
So it's our last night on the boatyard. We've just got a tiny little bit to do on the back here, but now's the moment of truth. It's like Christmas. That was the least dramatic peel I've ever seen. You don't want to just like that. So it's the last night and we're done. It's all looking good to go. We managed to borrow tools from the shed, got the sacrificial node sorted, and yeah, we'll do, that's it, man.
Going back in the water tomorrow, finally. And everyone in the comments is probably going to say what a terrible job we've done.
Please do.
Well, wasn't that splendid? Thank you for watching our little video, and until next time, you can tune in on another not so informative film clip. In the meantime, keep your boat wet, your pants dry, and we'll see you in the next video.